Welcome to issue 141 of the Captain's Log, a deeper dive into an aspect of the social age. And today, of course, I am thinking about generative AI because it's all over the place, it's everywhere. But I want to look at it through the lens of disruption, to think about how we should be considering it, which voices we should be listening to, what we should be doing about it. Now, disruption, of course, can be noisy or quiet. Something like an earthquake, of course, causes fracture and loss. It is a violent act. The change that it delivers is very clear. It is in the moment. But other types of disruption are different. A story can be disruptive, an idea can be disruptive, sometimes in the moment, but often over time as it builds momentum. So when we look at the emergence of these new AI story and art engines, how should we be viewing disruption? Is it really a big stone thrown in the water? Are we just being splashed by everything? Or is it the start of something? Are we in the space of potential? Well, you'll have no shortage of voices telling you which way to look. Just this week, I've seen people lamenting the death of writing through to saying that writing will never be killed by AI. Well, both those opinions are probably a bit too radical, they're a bit too extreme. At the moment, we don't really see fragmentation and disruption. We see the potential for change. Clearly, the AI systems, this stable of systems which are being embedded into new technology by Microsoft, by Google, they're becoming every place, everywhere. But we've not yet reached the point of impact. Now, why are they being adopted so fast is interesting. We could consider it's because they are easy to understand. There's a very low barrier to entry to starting to play with these things. You can kind of Google it, set up your account and get going. Now, there's not only no real barrier to entry, but there's also no real barrier to understanding output. They don't produce complex graphs or file formats that you have to struggle with. They just have a conversation. So the output is easily conceivable. It's familiar. But what they do is they abstract expertise. So in one sort of fell swoop, the disruption, the shake is that what it means to be an artist, what it means to be a writer, we've now removed one key component, which is the skill and experience piece. The barrier to doing it is much lower than it was. So we have technologies which can be widely conceived. People have a broad understanding of what is in front of them. It's easy to experiment and play with. And it certainly abstracts a key skills-based feature of what came before. But what we don't yet have is really broad commercial implementation or social implementation. We're still talking about potential. Now, what is interesting to me is that we feel that there should be an answer. Surely we will be in a time of curiosity and discovery. And that's what I've been thinking about. How do you get into actually just trying this out? Are you going to wait till a vendor tries to sell you an answer? Are you going to wait till a politician or a technologist tells you the answer? Or is this the time to explore? And I think it really is. This is the time to be setting up working groups, building programs, trying these technologies in them, not spending huge amounts of money and time and effort, but starting to build language, vocabulary, understanding capability. Who knows, maybe you will find your application in your organization, or maybe you will simply create the conditions, the understanding, the frameworks of conception which will allow you to do so when the time comes. It doesn't feel to me like this is a time to close our eyes, to keep our heads down, nor does it feel like a time to shout the answers from the rooftops. There is no absence of expertise, but there is certainly no absence of hyperbole and dogma. Now, because this kind of change has not been monumental in terms of the damage disruption it's causing now, then anything else is kind of noise around the system. We should be in a space where we try to avoid becoming too certain too fast. A socially dynamic organization is not one which holds all the answers, nor one that believes it can procure answers. It's an organization that has the kind of structure, the kind of dialogue, debate, the sense-making apparatus, the capability to experiment, to iterate, to hold its certainty lightly, and to recognize that its answer will be unique to itself. I think that's very much true in this case. the way that organizations will gain competitive advantage from the adoption of these types of generative AIs is unlikely to be packaged up and given to us. It's likely to feed into the human systems of culture and leadership, of innovation, sense-making, understanding. It's likely to enhance them by reframing, recontextualizing them. And that's our space to play in right now. Well, I hope you've had a great week. I look forward to seeing you next time.